Good evening and welcome to Paul Ricard, Southern France at Castellet for round 3 of the Crest Autosport NXTGEN Euro TCR Championship on RaceRoom. Today, as we said, we're in Paul Ricard of Southern France, 25 kilometers north of Toulon and 40 kilometers east of Marseille. Very close to the southern French coast on the Mediterranean Ocean. Tonight's track of Paul Ricard, slightly unconventional layout, not the one that we see regularly on the Formula 1 or nowadays European TCR, but this layout's slightly different in that it is super quick. The 1A layout, 3.57 miles or 5.75 kilometers, and it only costs £2.57 on RaceRoom, but the long straight on the back straight will feature speeds of more than 160 miles per hour, so it's going to be very exciting to watch them come into the right-hander on the lower right part of the circuit. 13 turns on this track, 8 to the right and 5 to the left. And over the years, Paul Ricard has hosted 3 editions of the Race of France from the World Touring Car Championship. One of them, World Rally Championship star Sébastien Loeb won in 2015. And over the years, Paul Ricard has been in and out of the Formula 1 calendar. 16 Formula 1 Grand Prix is hosted as the French Grand Prix. This is the season calendar we will be following over the next few months or so. 2 weeks ago we started off round 1 at the Portimao circuit in Portugal. Still in the Iberian Peninsula, it was Aragon next for last week's round, for round 2. Today, round 3 at Paul Ricard, and next week we are off to Imola for round 4. Round 5 will be hosted at the Hungaroring. Round 6 will be hosted at the Autodrom Moss circuit in Czechia. Round 7 will be the Silverstone Grand Prix layout, Spa-Francorchamps hosting round 8. Round 9 will be hosted at the Zandvoort circuit in the Netherlands. Round 10 will be hosted at the Anderstorp Scandinavian Raceway circuit in Sweden. The Red Bull Ring will host round 11. Round 12 will be hosted at the Hockenheim Ring. So if you want to get involved in this series, all you have to do is join the Facebook group Crest Autosport RaceRoom Leagues, or join the NXTGEN Racing Facebook group to get involved in those leagues. Contact the admins and they'll get you involved in the series. Still plenty of spaces left and plenty of cars to choose from, which are as follows: 10 manufacturers, and it will be going up to 11 next week as there is a new car added to RaceRoom. But the Audi RS3 in all 3 editions of RaceRoom's TCR, WTCR should I say, all 3 editions of the Alfa Romeo, all 3 of the Honda, 2 editions of the Lincoln Co., 1 edition of the Renault Megane, 2 editions of the Volkswagen Golf, 3 editions of the Hyundai i30, 1 edition of the Peugeot 308, 3 editions of the Cupra TCR and the Lada Vesta from the TC Cup category, which will be joined next week by the Opel Astra, recently added to RaceRoom. Tonight's itinerary is as follows. Qualifying will be on the hour in just a few minutes' time, and that will be a 15-minute session which will set the grid for race 1, of course. Race 1 being a 15-minute sprint race, and which will follow almost immediately by another 15-minute sprint race, where the results of race 1 will form the grid for race 2, except the top 8 will be reversed. We'll be going for a quick break in between races 2 and 3. When we come back for race 3, it will be a 25-minute race where the grid is formed by the results of race 2, but the top 15 are reversed. So there we go, that's some of the housekeeping over and done with. And let's get a little bit of a sit rep on how things are going in this practice session at the moment. A little bit of a blip with our timing data at the moment, but at the top of the standings is Fraser. Well, it was Fraser Rustance. Quick disappearance there from Fraser, but Fraser at the top of the standings with a 2-minute 1.4. Championship leader Jamie Dory not in the session at the moment. Jamie Dory will be on sporadic appearances due to his work shifts. See if he'll come along very soon. Hopefully he will. But second in the championship was last week's triple winner, Ayman Aqeem. Seems to have changed his team name, RSG now, which is interesting. But Ayman Aqeem was the star of last week's race, taking all 3 wins. A dominant performance from the Malaysian driver. Lee Horn, co-host along with me, 3rd in the championship, 10 points behind top spot Jamie Dury, 3rd in the standings at the moment. In his words, he's hoping to do better this week. And before we get into anything else, let's actually go through the championship standings coming into tonight. First of all, this is what happened at last week's race. As we can see there, Murasaki Tadashi, who is Ayman Aqeem, qualifying pole and won all 3 races. Lee Horn did very well in qualifying and race 2, finished 2nd. And Jeff Perkis piping Johannes Lienberg to the top spot. I believe this is wrong. These are the wrong standings, so yeah, sadly we won't be able to read that through. Yeah, not sure what happened there. Incorrect standings. So to go through it properly, it was Ayman Aqeem who won race 1, Lee Horn who got 2nd, and Johannes Lienberg who got 3rd. In race 2, Ayman Aqeem won it, and 2nd was Jamie Dury. 3rd place was Ian Deeney with his first podium of the season. Ayman Aqeem, of course, won race 3, as we mentioned. Fraser Rostons got 2nd place after a brilliant battle with Ben Payne, taking the final step of the podium. And these are the championship standings, definitely correct. Having a quick gasp seeing them, but Jamie Dury at the top of the standings, not in the server as he mentioned at the moment, so we'll have to see if he comes along very soon. He can join during qualifying, which starts in 3.5 minutes time. But Ayman Aqeem, 2nd place, not too far behind, 6 points behind, and 4 points behind him is Lee Horn in the yellow Audi, which we can see in the foreground there. Johannes Lienberg, a very strong start to the season for him in the Hyundai, 4th place for him, with Stefan Heike Navalov, who got a 2nd place in Portimao 2 weeks ago, 5th in the standings. Ollie Janssen in 6th, with Jeff Perkis in 7th. Jürgen Masby Pedersen, who was our driver of the day at round 1 at Portimao, 8th. 9th place for Alex Ward, and race 3 podium sitter Ben Payne, 10th place. Yunus Karbid, not such a good meeting at Aragon, but was brilliant back at Portimao. Let's see if he can do better this week. 11th for him. Fraser Rostons, top of the standings at the moment in practice. 12th in the standings in the championship. So this could be the rise of Fraser Rostons. Roy Plummer in the Lincoln Co. is 13th, with Ian Deeney, runner-up in race... podium finisher in race 2 last week, 14th in the standings. Anastasios Georgiadis in 15th, with Alexander Jakobsen 16th. Gabriel Lopez in 17th, with Mark Arrowsmith 18th. Elliot House, who had a very good opening 2 races last week, in 19th, with Petter Nyström in 20th. The championship standings does in fact form the ballast for races 1 and 2, and of course qualifying for tonight. It is based on the championship standings. Jamie Dury will have the most ballast of 40 kilos, and it runs down of increments in 4 down to 10th position. So last week's storming drive from Ayman Aqeem, aka Murasaki Tadashi, on 36 kilos on what is a very, very fast track. He will struggle in that Alfa Romeo tonight on this circuit, but as we saw last week, highly competent driver. See if he can overcome the weight. Lee Horn in on 32 kilos there, and 3rd in the standings at the moment, so pretty impressive from Lee, how we're seeing he can carry the weight at the moment. And Johannes Lienberg on 28 kilos. So we see Lee Horn go blasting through the opening section of the Paul Ricard circuit, and I'll just get a map up so we can see so I can see the corner names. We're a stone's throw away from qualifying starting very shortly here, and as we mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, this is a slightly unconventional layout of Paul Ricard. The Formula 1 layout is a bit of a sharper opening chicane, whereas these drivers will be able to go flat out through the opening chicane of the circuit, as it's a slightly varying layout. And the back straight, the Formula 1 cars will go into a fairly slow chicane, about halfway up the near 1 kilometre long straight. But these guys, you can see in the distance there with Johannes Lienberg, they go all the way along this back straight and up the hill to go into the Cobra de Signes. That's a point. My French has got to be on point tonight to pronounce all the corner names of this circuit, which I'm sure I'll cope with absolutely fine, but we'll see. As we see Johannes Lienberg coming up this back straight here, 255 kilometers per hour, which is around about 160 miles per hour. Gotta make sure you don't run off too wide. Now, something these drivers don't have to worry about today, which they were petrified about last week, was the gravel traps around the edge of the circuit. On here, there's just a whole heap of runoff area in the form of tarmac or concrete, whichever it is. So running wide on this circuit does have its detriments in that you do get slow down penalties for running off wide, but it doesn't necessarily dampen the car's speed at all. So as we start qualifying, Johannes Lienberg in a hurry to get out there. Now the thing is, with this circuit, you're probably going to be better off running about half a second to a second behind someone to get a good draft up the straight. These cars are very effective in slipstream, so we'll see how drivers will negotiate the traffic on this outlap here. Fraser Austin seems to be in a hurry to try and keep up with Johannes Lienberg. Lienberg was second in practice, Fraser Austin's quickest in practice. So him following Johannes Lienberg will certainly be a good ballpark figure. Ayman Aqeem following Fraser Austin's through. Fraser Austin's has no ballast, I might remind you, as he's lower than 10th in the standings. Got Lee Horn there, right behind Ayman Aqeem. The championship rival to Lee Horn at the moment, sticking to him like glue to try and get the best run on his championship protagonist. I was going to say championship leader, but he technically isn't. Jeff Perkis back here, nice and late out, following Ben Payne and Royston Plummer. Jeff Perkis fourth in the standings, had a good outing at Portimao, was a little bit quiet at Aragon. We'll see how he gets on tonight, and he resets to the pits, very strange. I wonder what's going on. Jeff Perkis has left the server now, which is very odd indeed. I'm sure he'll be back, but interesting from Jeff. Just as we were mentioning, he had a good night at Portimao and a bad, well, not a bad night at Aragon, but for his standards, below par. Follow Johannes Lienberg through the final part of the track. And in fact, first out on the track is going to take us on a lap of Paul Ricard circuit. So we head down the front straight here. Past the grandstands on the left, across the line we go, and down towards this first opening chicane, a very loose chicane. You'll be able to go flat out through here, as it is not the Formula 1 chicane. Into the S's we go now, left here, flat out across the curb, right here, keeping it across plenty of the curb, running out to the left there as we come into the Hotel Virage. Down the gears to third gear, taking plenty of the curb, now around this very tight and almost goes on forever left-hander in the Virage de Camp. Very tight right-hander here, and now into the Virage de la Sainte Baume. And now we get on to the fastest part of the track, the Linea Droite de Mistral, the long straight of Paul Ricard, in other words. Up the gears we go, into sixth gear now. Johannes Lienberg takes it up towards 250 kilometers an hour. We'll just about go over it as we start to ascend up the hill towards the Courbe de Signe. Under the bridge, that's your braking marker for this corner now. Coming down to fifth gear, hoisting it on the curb and not taking too much of the runoff out there. And then the long right-hander of the double Droite de Beausset. A little bit of a kick at the rear end, keep it nice and tight on the inside there. Johannes Lienberg is coming out into the Virage de Bendor. This is a very good lap from Johannes Lienberg, powered down through the corner, now around the Courbe de Galaban. Virage de la Tour now, that long left-hander here, breaking down the gears as we approach the Virage de Pont. Slowest corner on the circuit. Oh, goes a little bit wide there. Might have got away with that, running off wide there. And that is a lap of Paul Ricard on board with Johannes Lienberg, he crosses the line at 2 minutes 2.5. We have seen 2 minute dead on the standings in practice. What about Fraser Rustance? A little bit quicker with a 2 minute 2.1. Ayman Aqeem, I don't think set a valid lap time. Ricard Navalov set a 2 minute 3.2. Eunice Carbide also crossed the line. Ollie Hansen with a good time, splitting Rostance and Lienberg into second place there. Across the line also goes Ian Deeney. Hasn't set a valid time. Anastasios Georgiadis crosses the line. Invalid lap time. Plenty of them about at the moment. As we said with this track, there's plenty of runoff areas, but you go near them and it will invalidate your lap time and give you slowdowns in the race. So these drivers have got to be hugely careful about that. We saw similar at Aragon last week where the track limits were getting the better of people. Georgiadis slips a little bit wide going through the left-hander there. Fraser Rustance, top of the pops at the moment. Of those who have set times, only 5 of the 16 in the field at the moment. And he is set in purple sectors already to try and better his time. Johannes Lienberg reset to the pits straight away and has gone back out on fresh tyres. So Fraser Rustance is front of the pack at the moment with no draft ahead of him. And is still doing purple sectors. We still have to wait for times from Ayman Akeem and Lee Horn. Both were 1-2 at Aragon last week, but Fraser Rustance, we mentioned with him, the advantage he has is running with no weight. Very helpful on this track. But the thing is, your qualifying performance will determine the weight you carry, the same increments as what we saw earlier, but your qualifying results will determine your weight for race 3. Across the line will go Fraser Rustance again, with Ayman Akeem not too far behind. And I don't think he bettered his time, but Ayman Akeem did better Fraser's time and goes provisional pole at the moment with a 2 minute 1.9. Lee Horn has just crossed the line to go 4th position. Back there, that's Ricard Navalov has put himself in 6th position. And who else have we got? Jürgen Masby Pedersen has crossed the line to go 7th place. I think that was Eunice Carbide also crossing the line to go 8th. Ollie Hansen hasn't bettered his time and neither has Ian Deeney back there. Ian Deeney still without a time. Georgiadis has just set a time to go 10th position in the standings. As we see back there, that looked to be Stephen de Gravelia heading out on track to do a lap. Ian Deeney, top of the standings though. I did say that he hasn't set a time. I was incorrect there. The 2 minute 1.9 for the Alfa Romeo drivers, and Alfa Romeo 1-2 at the moment. Brilliant performance from them. And Ian Deeney, purple sectors. And Ian Deeney's another driver who isn't running any ballast due to his championship position. So you can see how much of a detriment the weight is having to some of these drivers. And not having it breed success. The thing is, with having weight on this track though, it will weigh down the rear end a little bit and give you a little more stability for this right-hander coming up that we're seeing Ian Deeney approach as he goes purple again in Sector 2. A convincingly good Sector 2. This right-hander here, particularly in the Alfa Romeo, will set the rear end a little bit wild. Ian Deeney seems to cope with it rather well though as he comes through the final sector of the track, probably the sector where you can lose or gain most of your time as he slips sideways coming into the right-hander there. That might have lost him a little bit of time. That's what we were talking about, where the weight can stabilise the rear end. And of course Ian Deeney has no weight, a shorter wheelbase, and a car that is particularly tail happy anyway, so the Alfa Romeo not the ideal car for this track, but they seem to be coping rather well. As Ayman Akeem, as I say that, goes pole position provisionally. Lee Horn puts himself up to 3rd place. So Ayman Akeem, the man to beat again. Across the line goes Ricard Navalov. Who else have we got coming across the line? Ian Deeney is back there. Across the line goes Ollie Hansen. Doesn't go any quicker, but Ian Deeney crosses the line. Don't think he went any quicker. No, he didn't. So Ian Deeney still less than half, just over half a tenth behind Ayman Akeem as he'll start another flying lap, and he seems to be going for it this time around. And it must have been that final sector where we saw him slip up that cost that time. Flashes his lights to the drivers ahead to let him know that he is on a flying lap and he doesn't want to be held up. Drivers that haven't set times yet: Ben Payne, Elliott House, Jeff Perkins and Stephen de Gravelia. Johannes Lienberg, I think, has just gone into 5th place. Yes, he has. He has just pipped ahead of Lee Horn. Ben Payne has put himself into 10th place. Behind him, he's pulling along Jürgen Masby Pedersen, it seems. Ben Payne, who got 3rd. He's got 2 3s on his window. It was 3rd place that he finished in race 3 last week. He'll be hoping for similar or better this week, I'm sure. Ollie Hansen has put himself into 3rd place. We didn't see that quite happen when he came across the line, but just over a quarter of a second behind the leader in his Lincoln Co. As we got Lee Horn, 6th place in qualifying at the moment. His championship rival, he would consider Ayman Aqeem, up in 1st place. He needs a good lap here. Personal best in sectors 1 and 2 as he passes the straggling Yunus Carbide on the side there, who's looking to get a little bit of a draft from Leon ahead of him. Now, they're in similar liveries, but they are not teammates. You can pretty much pick any livery, and once you've taken that livery, no one else can drive it. So there are 2 DHL Audis available. As Lee Horn does go quicker, puts himself 3rd, just over a 10th behind 1st place at the moment. Elliott House has set a time, 13th at the moment, and is on a personal best at the moment as he goes into the final sector. Fraser Ruston's coming through here. He'll start a brand new flying lap with 4 minutes to go, so he'll have at most 1 more lap to try and get to the top like what he did in practice. Johannes Lienberg, look at that, sector 2. Not too far off at all, and this might be a pretty good time from the Swedish driver who is 4th in the championship coming into tonight. Johannes Lienberg comes out the final corner and onto the back straight. He stays nice and tight to the left to gain as much as he can, and he does go quicker than his personal best, but it only manages 4th at the moment, and he'll be allowed to get 1 more lap in, as will the driver behind of Stephen de Gravelia. There is Pedersen back there as well, who will do another time. Ben Payne crossing the line back there as well. He's been pushed down to 11th, as I think Georgiadis has pushed ahead of him. Ian Deeney's in the pits, so he will not get another chance to try and get Ayman Aqeem off that top spot, who's still out on track, not going quicker. What about Lee Horn? Not going any quicker, so this could be ever more impressive from Ayman Aqeem. Johannes Lienberg doesn't seem to be going quicker at this point in qualifying. Perhaps the tyres have hit their life cycle where they start to degrade quite a lot. Cost you lap times. Got Ollie Hansen back here in what seems to be sector 3, but it's an invalid time as it is not appearing. You might be able to cross the line in time to do 1 more lap. We take a look at the track map, see where drivers are. Lee Horn has started a brand new lap, so he'll get another time. Ayman Aqeem, top of our standings at the moment. He might be able to get another time in. Yes, he will. So Lee Horn coming through the first 2 corners there. Ayman Aqeem crosses the line. He'll start a brand new lap, as will Ollie Hansen. Heike Navalov will also start a brand new lap. Time is ticking for these drivers. Georgiadis crosses the line. He might not be able to complete that lap. So those drivers, from Lee Horn on the left there to Georgiadis, might be able to complete a lap. Fraser Rostens comes across the line. Has he gone quicker? I don't think he has. 6th in the standards at the moment for the man who was quickest in practice. Who else have we got? Johannes Lienberg crossed the line there, and Johannes Lienberg goes top of the standings exactly the same time as Ayman Aqeem, but it must have been by a whisker ahead as he has gone to provisional pole position. Look how close that is. I wish we had a bit more technology under our wings here, as we could have seen how close that actually was. Now Jeff Perkis and Roy Plummer. Jeff Perkis on a very good lap here. Let's see what he does here. Cross the line, and it's a 2-minute 2.4. He puts him 7th at the moment, half a second down, but he breaks into the top 10. Who else have we got? Let's just check. We have got Lee Horn. Oh, and he peels off. Oh, and it It seemed that he was doing real well in sectors 1 and 2, but had to peel off an invalidated time. Johannes Lienberg with purple sectors. Might he be able to shock us all and take his first ever pole position in Crest Autosport and NXTGEN racing history? He'll come across the line now. I don't think he has. No, he puts it 5th and so close to the top. Not such a great final sector from the Moroccan driver. Ayman Aqeem, can he put himself top? It certainly looks like he can. Sectors 1 and 2, very good. He doesn't. Doesn't go any quicker. It was a bad final sector. Ollie Janssen, 6th at the moment, crosses the line. And this is what RaceRoom does to us. And it doesn't seem that anyone else is setting a quicker lap time. It isn't the case. So there we go. There are our classified standings by 0 thousandths of a second. It must have been a Rizzler paper or something like that between them. Johannes Lienberg takes pole ahead of Ayman Aqeem. Ian Deeney takes 3rd, and we'll get those standings back up for you. That's just what RaceRoom does for us. We don't have any control of where and when and for how long we can see the championship or qualifying results. So yes, Ian Deeney and Lee Horn will take up the 2nd row in 3rd and 4th there. Johannes Lienberg 5th with Ollie Janssen 6th. Fraser Rostens will start 7th with Jeff Perkins alongside in 8th. Jürgen Matsby Pedersen 9th with Eugen Avalov in 10th. Anastasios Georgiadis in 11th with Ben Payne taking up 12th on the grid. Elliot House in 13th with Roy Plummer in 14th. Gabriel Lopez will line up 15th, and not setting a time, Stephen de Gravelia will start 16th. Well, very, very interesting qualifying session we had there. It'd be so interesting to see how close Johannes Lienberg actually got that by, but it's probably can't find it, that data, which is a real shame. I'm sure we might be able to get that 4th decimal point involved in the post-race results and actually see what happened. If you want to keep an eye on the community, you want to get involved in the racing, anything like that, join Crest Autosport RaceRoom Leagues or join the NXTGEN Racing Facebook groups. From there, you'll be able to get involved in this championship or just keep an eye on everything that goes on with Crest Autosport and NXTGEN when it comes to RaceRoom Leagues and more. And Johannes Lienberg getting a little bit extra practice out there before things start. We're going to grid up very, very shortly for this first race of the night. So here we go, we all grid up for round 3 of the Euro TCR hosted by Crest Autosport in alliance with NXTGEN Racing. We're here at the Paul Ricard circuit, the Solution 1A layout. My name is Alex Everett of Crest Autosport, your commentator today, and welcome along to the broadcast. Whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube or Twitch, do click that subscribe, like or follow button. Check out all the broadcasts, live streams and onboards that we have on the channels. So Johannes Lienberg will line up on the right there in his 88 Hyundai, the number 31 Alfa Romeo on the left there of Ayman Aqeem. Lights are red and we're about to get underway here at Paul Ricard for round 2 of the championship. Round 3 of the championship, not 2, is underway. And a start from Johannes Lienberg. We'll have to see if he can get across to get a good line through the opening chicane of this circuit. Yes, he will. Johannes Lienberg will come into turn 1 as leader, and on the inside of Ayman Aqeem is Ian Deeney, but Ayman Aqeem shuts off the attack from the other Alfa Romeo driver and down towards the first corner. The third corner we go, and 2 Alfa Romeos on the back of Ian Deeney there as we come into the complex. Johannes Lienberg comes through as leader. We've got Lee Horn versus Jonas Carbide there. Into turn 5 we go, and up the inside of Jeff Perkins there went Ollie Janssen there. A brave move on the early stage of this race. Jeff Perkins with the better line coming out of the corner though, and onto the back straight we go. This is Johannes Lienberg's rear wing view of the cars behind, and let's see how much Ayman Aqeem can actually close in on this back straight here. He is a little bit, but it's probably not closing in enough to make a move. And back here we have got Fraser Rostance trying to make his way alongside Jonas Carbide, but he couldn't. This is Johannes Lienberg at 260 kilometers an hour, just below 260, coming into the long right-hander here. Cold tyres have got to be very careful not to run off too wide back there. Lee Horn back there trying the inside of Ian Deeney, but Deeney closes it off round the long right-hander that just seems to never end. Lee Horn goes a little bit wide there, and Jonas Carbide tries to sneak it up the inside, but he couldn't. And there seems to be drama back here as Navlov has got to serve a slow-down penalty. He'll let through Georgiadis and drop to 10th position. Back at the front here, the top 4 fairly close together. Lienberg without a win to his name yet this season. He's only had 1 podium finish, and that was last week at Aragon in race 1. Lee Horn pushing through Ian Dean, and look how much they're bunching up coming around that final corner here at Paul Ricard. Lap 1 complete. Johannes Lienberg leads the way. Into turn 1 we go. This is the onboard of the fast turns 1 and 2. Left-hander here. Across the right-hander curb. And back behind you can see Ayman Aqeem closing in a little bit. And there's a... Oh, was there a spin back there? No, there wasn't. It was Fraser Rostance moving around. Oh, just ahead of Jeff Perkins there. But Jeff Perkins gets a delightful undercut on Fraser there to take 6th place. It does now disperse between them as onto the back straight we go. Ah, chase cam, it's doing this again to us. It's an issue with our software, not me. I am pressing the right buttons, and look how much Ayman Aqeem closing in on Johannes Lienberg. He'll now find the inside as we come up to the long right-hander of the Corbe de Signa. But Ayman Aqeem moves back in as moving into the open air. The clean air has slowed the car down a lot. That big hole being punched in the air becomes non-existent once you move away from it in these cars on this sim. And Ayman Aqeem got the worst of it there, carrying 36 kilos of weight on his car. Johannes Lienberg is carrying 28. Oh, and wide there, that was Jonas Carbide running very wide, coming off the corner there. Again, a little bit squirrely through the left-hander here. He'll stay in 5th place at the moment unless he has to serve more of that slow-down penalty. Jeff Perkins all over his rear. There is Jeff Perkins, and it looks like Carbide still has to serve that slow down penalty, and in fact he might have just finished serving it, so just about hangs on to 5th but loses a little bit of ground from the cars ahead. End of lap 2. Lienberg comes down the front straight with Ayman Aqeem still glued to his rear almost. This will be a very popular camera angle from this track today, as will the chase cam apparently. Into turns 3 and 4 now. Johannes Lienberg really does like that Hyundai. I've seen him take part in other series, WTCR series in other cars, but the Hyundai just seems to be the car that he really bonds with, and we're seeing that here as he's facing off against esports driver Ayman Aqeem here at Paul Ricard. Down this back straight here. Ah, chase cam, we love you. And look at that, Ayman Aqeem will find the inside again. But the clean air catching up on him, and it slows the car down dramatically. He's not able to make a move on the inside coming into the Corbe de Signa. backs off a little bit, tries to get a good run. That's all he pretty much can do. Did get a pretty good run, but Johannes Lienberg can come across to the right to guard the line going into the corner. Back here for third and fourth. Ian Deeney holding off Lee Horn very, very well. Ian Deeney has no weight on his car, so is managing very well. And look at that, Fraser Rostant was around the outside of Jonas Carbide, a bit of contact between them that'll allow Jeff Perkins to sneak up the inside. There's three Audis facing off against one another here. I think they're from three different generations at TCR. I think Jeff Perkins in the 2018 Audi, Fraser's in the 2019 Audi, and Jonas Carbide in the 2020 Audi. All RS3 cars though. And I might stand corrected, Jeff Perkins I think might be in the 2019. And as we're seeing a big battle here between Roy Plummer and Elliot House here. Elliot House moving into 12th position. And the position to keep an eye on is 8th position. That is reverse grid pole for race 2, if he can finish there. 8th place currently in Ollie Jansen's hands. Back at the front. Lienberg still leads from Ayman Aqeem. Ian Deeney and Lee Horn closing in a little bit on these two drivers. Deeney's back to within a second of Lienberg. Oh, and across the infield there, Jonas Carbide. And that'll certainly be a slowdown to serve, which he might end up surrendering the position to Ollie Jansen. And he'll lose touch from Fraser Rostant and Jeff Perkins in 5th and 6th. On this back straight again. Ayman Aqeem flashing his lights. All he can do when he gets alongside, as we're seeing here, Lienberg just slips away with the clean air catching up on Ayman Aqeem's Alfa Romeo Giulietta. Into the right-hander we go. Ian Deeney really closed up on that back straight there with no weight on his car. Deeney taking a little look to the inside of Ayman Aqeem there. Ayman Aqeem in the green, white and red Alfa Romeo. The 958 Santero livery is Ian Deeney. They're still very close together, these four. Is that Lee Horn alongside? No, it wasn't. I kind of thought with that camera angle he had slipped out the inside of Ian Deeney, taking different lines to try and get a good run at these corners on these drivers. Is Lee Horn here. And we'll complete another lap with 6.5 minutes or more to go. Your top 8 are Lienberg, Aqeem, Deeney, Horn, Rostance, Perkins, Jansen and Carbide. Into turns 1 and 2 again. A superb camera angle there. Facing into the sun, and it's a dive up the inside from Ayman Aqeem. Lienberg has to give room, and Ayman Aqeem completes the move. He runs a little bit wide with a nudge from Lienberg, but nothing to worry about as he holds the inside. Deeney on the inside of Lienberg there to try and sneak away second place. But what a move from Ayman Aqeem, late on the brakes, and Lienberg could do nothing but surrender that. Aqeem has probably been lying that move for some amount of laps now, and he now takes the lead here at Paul Ricard. What can Lienberg do? Well, he's got a good run. Ayman Aqeem goes to fend the inside. Now to the outside goes Johannes Lienberg. He's edged his nose ahead. Who will have the better line going into this corner? And Ayman Aqeem slits back behind. So that weight is really letting him down. He's carrying 12 kilos more? Yes, 12, no, not even that. 8 kilos more, and it's having that much of an effect on him. Oh, and sideways goes Ayman Aqeem. Oh, Deeney nearly slipped it up the inside, but Aqeem closed it off just in time. But the rear end getting real squirrely on that Alfa Romeo there. Deeney all over the rear, trying to find a gap, trying to find a way through. And Ayman Aqeem, in fact, might have found the inside. He has. He somehow found the inside of Johannes Lienberg following that mistake. Coming through the left-hander now. He finds his way back into first place back here. Lee Horn still trying to find his way past Ian Deeney. Side by side coming into the final corner of these two drivers. Lienberg will try the undercut. And Ayman Aqeem will now have a lap lead under his belt. Oh, and there's big drama back there. Georgiades being turned sideways by Ben Payne, it seemed, and he's facing off against Elliot House and Heike Navler. Georgiades stays in 8th for the moment, and these two are going to go side by side coming through the first 2 corners. We'll get back to the front very soon. Nothing happening just yet between them, it seems. Ben Payne on the inside for 9th place. Georgiades has the inside for turn 2. Ben Payne will try the undercut. Coming up towards turn 3. Payne able to get late enough on the brakes. Not quite. Georgiades hangs on to the position. Onto the back straight, their top 4 go. And it's real close still between these. And Ben Payne has been knocked back to 11th place by Elliot House. Apologies for missing out. We don't get replays on RaceRoom, unfortunately. I rather thought that would change recently with the update they brought out. Back with the front, Johannes Lienberg has found his way back ahead of Ayman Aqeem on the straight line speed alone. Oh, and a big late break from Ayman Aqeem, and the door closed by the Swedish driver there. And Ian Deeney might be able to find his way alongside Ayman Aqeem. Oh, and no, he doesn't quite find the inside. He's glued to that rear and he just can't find a way past. What a battle we're seeing between these 3. You could involve Lee Horn in that, but he hasn't quite made the Queen's move yet, although he just has. He gets up the inside of Ian Deeney going into the left-hander here. Has the outside for this long right-hander, but then we'll have the inside for the next corner. Who will come out on top between these 2? Well, it will be Ian Deeney for the time being. And look who's closing in. Fraser Rostance. He might be able to join the party. Now Johannes Lienberg has got back the lead from Ayman Aqeem. To the front straight. We'll have 2 laps to go. Coming down. Front straight here. Left-hander now. Into the right-hander. Ayman Aqeem has slipped back a little bit from Johannes Lienberg. That chase cam is really grinding me. Closes in big time through these corners to Ayman Aqeem. That Alfa Romeo is just able to rotate so happily around these corners. But what I am wondering about Ayman Aqeem's setup with regards to this back straight is he's not able to gain that much on Johannes Lienberg. Is he running a bit more downforce on that car to get himself through the corners? Or is it the weight that's doing it? Could be either or. It's not particularly closing in on Lienberg. Lienberg's got a little bit of a buffer coming up this straight. He can relax a little bit until the next corner, of course. Lee Horn seems to have dropped back a little bit from Ian Deeney. That's the distance. Well, behind the number 1 on his window. This is Fraser Rostance trying to find the inside of Lee Horn. Coming up the back straight here. Into the left-hander they go. Sorry, the right-hander they go. And Lee Horn lets Fraser Rostance have the position. Ayman Aqeem looking to make a move, but he doesn't quite make it. Now Fraser Rostance in 4th place. Lee Horn seemed to be a little bit friendly towards Fraser Rostance there, didn't really put up much of a fight, and now Fraser's breaking away. Was this a tactic for Lee Horn to see if he can use Fraser to catch up with the front pack and maybe find a way through? Remains to be seen. With 1 minute to go, after this lap is completed, there'll be 1 more lap to go. The top 3, Johannes Lienberg versus 2 Alfa Romeos of Ayman Aqeem and Ian Deeney after this race. If all finishes as it is right now, Ayman Aqeem will take the lead in the championship. Final lap has begun. Lienberg has led all but 1 lap. Through the opening complex. This is the view from Ayman Aqeem. Oh, he ran a little bit wide there. Couldn't quite get the car rotated round turn 2 there. Into turn 3 we go. That was where Ayman Aqeem made the move earlier on in the race. Got the sense he was trying to line up that move, but couldn't quite get it around turn 2 as easy as he wanted. And Lienberg did run off very wide coming through turn 5 there. Turn 4, excuse me. Turn 5 and 6 here. And onto the back straight we go. Fraser Rostance with a slow down penalty. I don't think that's affected him too much. This is the onboard again from Ayman Aqeem. He'll close into Johannes Lienberg, but what we've been seeing is when he comes out of the slipstream, up the inside of Johannes Lienberg. He's not able to maintain that top speed. Here we go, he moves out, and then it stops, and then Lienberg breaks away again. Into the right-hander for the last time here. Lienberg will go to defend the inside. Ayman Aqeem looking very handy on the inside there, but Lienberg had him covered off. Ian Deeney back there in third, trying all avenues to try and find a way past Aqeem, who's leaving himself open for the attack. Fraser Roston's been warned for continuing to ignore track limits abuse, and he'll serve him here as he lets by Lee Horn back into fourth place, I think. But at the moment, this is the battle for the lead. One more corner to go. Ayman Aqeem lunges up the inside but is not able to make it. No, he hasn't. Lienberg just about hangs on to it, and he'll take his first win of the season. Ian Deeney rather close to second here. Will he be able to nick it on the line? No, there was 6/100ths between Ayman Aqeem and Ian Deeney as they come across the line, but Ayman takes second place with Ian Deeney in third. Lee Horn takes fourth with the demise of Fraser Rossins, who ended up in 8th position. In fact, what did he have to serve? A drive-through penalty. That's why he's in the pits. Either way, I think he's managed to finish in 8th place. We'll have to see. Jeff Perkins takes 5th at the moment, with Ollie Janssen in 6th, Eunice Carbide in 7th, Fraser Rossins, as we mentioned, in 8th, Heike Navalov in 9th, having a good battle with Elliot House in 10th, and Ben Payne in 11th. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen takes 12th, with Anastasios Georgiadis in 13th. Roy Plummer in 14th, with Gabriel Lopez in 15th, and Stephen de Gravelia will come through to finish 16th. But Johannes Lienberg takes the win. What an exciting race that was. There wasn't all that much overtaking, but it was plenty to watch. Lee Horn takes fastest lap. Irrelevant in terms of points, but this shows it being the quickest on the track, one to look out for in the next race. Lienberg takes the win with Aqeem second. Deeney takes third, Lee Horn fourth. Perkins will start fourth for the next race. Janssen will start third, Carbide will start second, and Heike Navalov will start pole, as Fraser Rostens was given a penalty for not serving that drive-through penalty which he picked up on the final lap. So he wasn't able to serve it. That's the issue. Fraser will feel real hard done by that, but there are 2 races to go, and there's something for Fraser to think about, is getting a good starting position for race 3, or getting through the pack in race 2. Well, race 2 is being set up. We're going to go for a quick interval, and we'll be back very soon for race 2 of the night from the Crest Autosport NXTGEN Racing Euro TCR League on RaceRoom. See you in a few moments. Welcome back to the Euro TCR hosted by Crest Autosport in alliance with NXTGEN Racing. Race 2 coming up very, very shortly here. And I got a little bit of intel from what happened with Fraser Rostance in that first race, as it had given him a 2-minute penalty for not serving a drive-through penalty, but the additional it was an additional penalty added on due to speeding in the pit lane. He didn't map his buttons to from Assetto Corsa to this game, sadly, so a little bit of an own goal, bless him, but he still drove a very good race, and we'll be seeing what he can do in races 2 and 3 coming up, coming from the back of the grid. In this one, drivers go out to do a little bit of practice before we get underway with race 2. And as we mentioned, a reverse 8, the finishers from race 1, which will show on the screen in just a second. There we go, they were the results. The top 8 there reverse. So Navalov will start on pole position with Jonas Carbide in 2nd position. 3rd position will start Ollie Jansen. Jeff Perkins will start in 4th position. Lee Horn will start in 5th position, with 6th place taken up by Ian Deeney. 7th and 8th will be taken by the top 2 finishers of race 1, Ayman Aqeem and Johannes Lienberg. So after that race, Ayman Aqeem will come out as our championship leader. His lead slightly slashed by Johannes Lienberg, though, who will now be within, it will be 4 points of Ayman Aqeem. Lee Horn, who finished in 4th. Let's try and figure this out. 4 less points. So that'll mean Johannes Lienberg takes 2nd in the championship. Lee Horn remains 3rd. As the drivers line up on the grid for what will be race 2 of the night. The Euro TCR Crest Autosport in alliance with NXTGEN Racing at Paul Ricard, but the Solution 1A circuit. Drivers line up on the grid, and there they are on the grid. Heike Navalov will take up the pole spot on the grid. Lights are red. On 2nd on the grid is Jonas Carbide. And away we go. The Swiss driver of Navalov comes across to guard his 1st place from Jonas Carbide as we come down towards turn 1. A bit of wheel bashing already as Jonas Carbide has got his nose ever so slightly ahead, and he'll come into the 1st corner. Carbide takes the lead here at Paul Ricard for this 2nd race of the night. Comes down into turn 1. There's a spin back there. That looked like Georgiades has spun the back there, and there's a recovering link. That looked like Ollie Jansen. But coming through of complex here, and Ayman Aqeem going very wide there. Ayman Aqeem slipped wide somehow. I'm not sure if it's contact with someone else, and there's more contact between him and Jürgen Masby Pedersen. Is in 9th place now, but loads of drivers slipping back. Jansen and Ayman Aqeem. This puts Ben Payne and Elliot House into the top 8. But coming out of the opening half of the lap, Jonas Carbide leads away from Heike Navalov. Jeff Perkins on his billy there in 3rd place. Bit of a gap to Ian Deeney and Lee Horn back here. You've got Jonas Lienberg. I can't say Eunice, and I can't even get out of chase cam. But, oh, look at that big push of speed from Lee Horn behind Ian Deeney there. Oh, and there was a bit of a lunge from Navalov, but wasn't able to get there. Lee Horn following Ian Deeney yet again. Deeney managed to break in front on the start there. Coming into the right-hander, that's Elliot House on the inside of Ben Payne. Elliot House in the Audi there, and look at how sideways Ayman Aqeem is there. Cold tyres really not helping on his Alfa Romeo there. He has now got a fair few cars to pass to make his way up the grid. Finishing position here is crucial for your starting position in race 3, and of course there's championship points at play. That is Navalov on the inside of Jonas Carbide, but Carbide closes him off. Oh, and there's a big battle here. Lee Horn trying the inside of Ian Deeney, but couldn't quite get there. Ben Payne guarding off from Ayman Aqeem back there as well, and Ayman Aqeem has gained the place to 8th place. That's Lee Horn and Jonas Lienberg side by side, coming down this straight here. A bit closer to Lee Horn. He'll slip back behind Jonas Lienberg. So Lee Horn isn't having the best start of race here. He has allowed Dini past, who Dini is going past. Jeff Perkins here, he's alongside at least. He'll have the outside now for the next corner, but will he be able to hang on to the inside for the next corner? Dini comes into turn 4, and he'll take third place here. A bit of door-to-door contact. Jeff Perkins being very rough and tough with the doors of being Dini, but what a meeting he is having so far. Back onto the podium where he finished in race 1, having started 6th in this race. And now he can set his sights on his teammate ahead, Heike Navalov, both of Gavra Racing, who has not found his way past Jonas Karbi just yet. This is the view from Ayman Aqeem, who's got Elliot House in front. Elliot House, who's got Lee Horn in front, as you can see from the chase cam beyond control. A big run on Lee Horn, who is defending the middle of the track to come into this right-hander here. Dini real close to Heike Navalov, who's dropped back a bit from Jonas Karbi. Dini trying the inside of his teammate, and he'll move into second place if he can complete this move. He's got the inside for the remainder of the corner, but Navalov has got a good run coming out the corner. Dini actually got a pretty good run as well. Now the inside coming into the next one, and Johannes Lienberg trying the inside of Jeff Perkins. He found the inside of Jeff Perkins, makes his way past and into 4th place. Perkins not giving up on the inside though, and will eventually concede, and he's got Lee Horn to worry about now as well. Look at this, Lee Horn on the outside, and back up the inside goes Jeff Perkins into 4th place. Oh, this is too hard to follow, and look at this, it's Ayman Aqeem on the outside of Elliot House and has made his way past. House is defending from Payne and Pedersen. All this is allowing Karbi to break away. Karbi, who hasn't had a win to his name in next-gen racing history or Crest Autosport racing history. Dini still in 3rd place. Thought briefly he was going to take 2nd place from his teammate. Tried a little look to the inside, couldn't quite make it. Elliot House tried the inside of Ayman Aqeem. He's also defending from Ben Payne. Ayman Aqeem is back up to 7th place, and a big hit of the rear from Elliot House on the Malaysian driver. Ben Payne now trying the undercut on the Elliot House. House trying to close the door, did close the door. Ben Payne will feel a bit hard done by that, I'm sure. And now that allows Jürgen Madsby Pedersen to get alongside him in the 33 car versus the other 33 car ahead of Ben Payne. Of course, some of these cars from different years of the WTCR, so they do have similar numbers, some of them. And that is Heike Navalov. He might have slipped back behind Ian Dini on the straight here. Dini with a much better run down this straight. He'll come into the right-hander in front. 2nd place goes Ian Dini, started 6th and is already up to 2nd. Jeff Perkins now taking a look to Navalov, not able to make it there. But don't forget about race 1 winner. Johannes Lienberg is up to 5th place from 8th position. Karbi running wide there. That will allow Ian Dini to catch up. Can Dini get his first win tonight in Crest Autosport Racing League's history? I don't believe he's taken part in a next-gen racing league. So when it's a first, it'd be a first for him in both, technically. Ayman Aqeem is in a bit of bother there. He can't quite catch up with the pack in front. He's broken away from Elliot House. Coming out the final corner. That's the view from Jonas Karbi. Ian Dini has gotten real close. 1/4 second behind as they start lap 4 of the race. Dini looking all ways. He's determined to make that move early and very early. He uses all the road to get a little bit of a run through turns 1 and 2. Coming down towards turn 3 will go now. He's not got that much of an opportunity to get alongside. Karbi will resume 1st place for the moment. Jeff Perkins now looking to pressurise Navalov, who started pole. Lost the lead on the before the first corner. He's now lost 2nd place on the previous lap here. Bit of a ding dong back here. Pedersen, Payne and House again. And look at that. Both drivers all over the circuit to break the slipstream. Jonas Karbi going over to the right, then over to the left. Dini will find the inside coming up to this right-hander here. And we'll have to resume back in. That Audi is looking pretty good on the straights here. Back here, we've also got Jeff Perkis versus Navalov. That's Johannes Lienberg outside of Lee Horn. And look at that. Look, could be a 4 wide going into this corner here. Ayman Akeem's on the outside of Lienberg and Horn. Horn, we thought, was going to take the corner on the inside. But it looks like Ayman Akeem might slip through. No, he won't. Lienberg has closed it off. Now finds back up the inside. Ayman Akeem has taken 2 positions in pretty much 2 corners there. Brilliant racing from the Malaysian driver. And Jeff Perkis alongside Navalov. Ian Deeney has taken the lead while we were looking away there. So from 6th on the grid, already up into the top spot. Navalov getting a shunt from the rear from Jeff Perkis. Hitting the rear of Jonas Karby as well. Now finds the inside of the Audi. Brilliant move from Navalov to take 2nd place there. Interesting battling from all these drivers. This is Jeff Perkis on the inside of Ayman Akeem. Akeem, who's looking to get himself into 4th place. This will be 3 positions gained in 3 or 4 corners. In fact, just over 3 corners. Ayman Akeem is now in the rhythm, in the mode. He's now got a good run on Jonas Karby. The car slipping sideways. He just about kept hold of it. And now Jeff Perkis on the inside for the next corner. But Ayman Akeem will be able to keep the inside for this right-hander here. Yes, he will. Perkis trying to hang on to the outside. Ayman Akeem not giving him much room. Now has the inside for this long right-hander, which will lead onto the back straight. Johannes Lienberg hangs on to 6th place ahead of Lee Horn. And this crocodile of 7 cars battling for that top spot at the moment. Ian Deeney breaking away, in fact. Nearly a second clear. He moves across the track to break the slipstream from the fellow Alfa Romeo driver behind. Deeney, as we mentioned, has not won a race yet in Crest Autosport RaceRoom Leagues. He's been very close on a few occasions in last season's DTM 92 and the DTM 2020 Championship. Couldn't quite get it. And this is Karby door banging again with Heike and Navalov. Navalov must be fed up at the sight of that yellow Audi, but keeps it in 2nd for the moment. Johannes Lienberg back here, trying a bit of a move up the inside of Jeff Perkis. Had the inside, had the nose on the rear quarter panel of Jeff Perkis' Audi. And they'll resume through in single file through this corner, which is vastly different to the previous lap. Oh, Ayman Akeem getting a big hit up the rear from Jeff Perkis, and now has to surrender the positions to Jeff and Johannes Lienberg. Bit cheeky there from Jeff Perkis, he might have gained 3rd as well in the process. On the outside here. Oh, and Karby trying the undercut, but he's ended up on the wrong line. But no, he's managed to get it back in front, but broke too late for the final corner. Perkis back alongside, all avoiding each other as they concertina up around the final corner. Plenty of laps to go. Lap 6 has begun. So Karby remains in 3rd place. 4th taken by Jeff Perkis. He's got Lienberg and Akeem alongside each other. Oh, they were alongside each other, now they're not. 5th place taken up by Johannes Lienberg. There's a Eunice and a Jonas, and I'm getting them right mixed up. Side by side between Lee Horn and Ayman Akeem. Oh, and something's happened to Lienberg there. He ended up sideways, had to slow down a lot, and now drops to 7th place. Ayman Akeem stays ahead of Lee Horn here. Lienberg appears to be okay. Something happened to him as he slipped wide. But back here, the battle for 8th is between Pedersen, House, Payne still. But Fraser Rostens has joined the party. Remember, there's a reverse grid of the top 15 finishes in this race. Only one of them will miss out, and at the moment that's Georgiadis. But these 3, should I say, are battling for pole position. De Gavelia, Lopez and Georgiadis. Very close between these 3 drivers at the back of the pack here. Lopez getting a bit of a nudge from Georgiadis. Will resume the front pack very soon. Just want to give these guys a little bit of a newfound glory, it seems, as they're battling intensely at the back here. This is reverse grid pole contention, as Georgiadis is going to make his way alongside and potentially past Gabriel Lopez, demoting him to 16th position. Oh, a bit of door-to-door there. Lopez is getting a slipstream from the Renault. And now he'll try to find the inside of the Renault. No, he won't. He stays in 15th. Oh, no, and Lopez makes his way past De Gavelia, who slips behind and might slip behind to 16th place. And now Lopez is back in 16th place. Interesting battle from them. But let's resume these guys up the front here. Ayman Aqeem still ahead of Lee Horn. I think he momentarily found himself ahead of Ayman Aqeem. But Jeff Perkis here is ahead of him. And Jeff Perkis, if you don't mind me saying, really is one of the most difficult people to pass. He's a bit of a Matt Neal in a sense, if you're a British touring car fan. Very difficult to overtake Jeff Perkis. Strong battle and a very quick driver. Lee Horn up the inside of Ayman Aqeem. Getting his bravery out is Lee Horn, that he switches on every now and again. Goes into his shell every now and again, but he brings out big moves like this and big battles like this. He'll now have the inside for the right-hander here. Ayman Aqeem on the outside. He will hang on to the side. Oh, no, he won't. Lee Horn will find his way back in front. Let's see from the onboard or the chase cam. But there we go. Ayman Aqeem has found his way back alongside. He's got Johannes Lienberg coming up behind him. Johannes Lienberg might make it a 3 wide here. He does make it a 3 wide. We're coming down the back straight towards the fastest corner on the circuit. 3 wide. Lee Horn versus Ayman Aqeem versus Lienberg, and Lienberg has found his way past Ayman Aqeem, who is slower on the straights, we're noticing all night long so far. But it's still side by side between him and Lee Horn, and Lienberg has just gone into the distance past them. And back there we have got Fraser Rostens, who's found his way past House, past Pedersen, past Payne, and into 8th place he goes, where he probably should have, could have, maybe would have finished in race 1. And we've got Lee Horn still trying to find his way past Ayman Aqeem. Hasn't quite made it past. This guy has been brilliant in this race. Brilliant all night so far. He'll have 1 more lap to go, but he leads by 2.5 seconds, or just over 2 seconds from his teammate, Heike Navalov. Gavra Racing at the moment, as it stands, with 1 lap to go, a 1-2. Big battle out there between Fraser Rostens and Elliott House. Both in the Audis. Plenty of Audis in the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Audis in the field. More than any other manufacturer. There's 2 Lynx out there. And there's 3 Alfa Romeos. There are 10 manufacturers to choose from in this championship. Oh, and Ben Payne getting very sideways. He had to lock up the brakes behind Jürgen Madsby Pedersen there, and goes off to the runoff area. And will slow down and lose positions to 11th or even 12th place. Will Ben Payne. Back with his front pack. Navalov still ahead of Karbid. Karbid, who took the lead away from Navalov on the opening straight of the race, and Navalov moving a lot of times across the circuit there, trying to break Karbid's slipstream. This is the view from Karbid. A big run on the Alfa Romeo. He probably moved a bit too suddenly. He slowed a lot of speed from that Audi. We'll try the inside, coming into the right-hander here. Door to door again. Right up on the curb is the Moroccan driver. On the outside is the Swede of Navalov, and he gets through in front. But a big lunge from Karbid here. Couldn't quite get up the inside. We got Lee Horn versus Ayman Aqeem as well. Lee Horn, who knows he's against Aqeem in the championship, trying to find his way past and through. This is his last chance to do it. Aqeem resumes the inside line for this corner. Lee Horn does his best not to hold him off, cut him off. And in fact, that might be game, set and match. Match point anyway for Ayman Aqeem as into the final corner comes Ian Deeney to win his first ever win in the Crest Autosport RaceRoom Leagues. Brilliant stuff from Ian Deeney. What a race he has run today. Heike Navalov takes 2nd place, and Jeff Perkis, I think, just about missed out on 3rd place. There's Jonas Karbid, takes 3rd from Jeff Perkis. Johannes Lienberg, 5th position from Ayman Aqeem, who managed to stay in front of Lee Horn in the final phases of the race. Fraser Rostens in 8th position, a good comeback from him from 16th. Elliott House takes 9th, an entertaining race from him. Between him, Rostens, Pedersen and Payne. Pedersen himself, as the aforementioned, finishes 10th. Ollie Jensen in 11th with Ben Payne. A little bit of a sideways moment and running off into the runoff areas to come 12th. Roy Plummer takes 13th. Georgiadis takes 14th, just ahead of Gabriel Lopez, who will take reverse grid pole. Steven de Grevelier taking 16th, not able to hang on to the back of Gabriel Lopez to try and contend for reverse grid, but Ian Deeney, your race winner for the first time ever in Crest Autosport RaceRoom Leagues. Fraser Rostance takes the fastest lap. As we mentioned, there's no bonus point for fastest laps, but it is good to celebrate anyway. Navalov takes second. Carby takes third, an entertaining drive from him so far today. Perkis in fourth. How close was he? 8 thousandths behind Carby in the end. Lienberg takes fifth with Akeem sixth. Lee Horn takes seventh with Fraser Rostance in eighth. Elliott House takes 9th with Pedersen in 10th, Janssen 11th, Payne in 12th, Roy Palmer takes 13th with Georgiades 14th, who will line up on the front row alongside pole sitter for race 3, Gabriel Lopez. It's been a thrilling night so far here on the Crest Autosport NXTGEN Racing Euro TCR race at Paul Ricard, round 3 of the championship. We'll be back very, very soon with race 3, which will start at approximately 10 minutes past the hour. We'll be back very soon for that final race, a 25-minute race here at Paul Ricard. Don't go away. Welcome back to Paul Ricard for round 3 of the championship. The Crest Autosport NXTGEN Racing Euro TCR RaceRoom League, featuring all 3 WTCR categories available on RaceRoom: 2018 category, 2019 and 2020, and of course the TC Cup category, which features the Lada Vesta, and as of next week we may see the Opel Astra make an appearance. A huge thank you to all our sponsors here at Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing. Lovely stickers: Powermax Racing, Track Racer, Fastar, 603 Autosport and Joyce Design. Today the Paul Ricard circuit, but not the conventional layout that we see in the Formula 1, but the 1A solution layout, where there is a faster opening chicane and the back straight has no chicanes interrupting, I'll use the word. Just one big long 1 kilometre straight, where we're seeing drivers take these touring cars up to 160 miles per hour today. 13 turns in total on this circuit, 8 to the right and 5 to the left, and as we've seen, it's been very difficult for the drivers to overtake on this track. Looking forward to some very exciting racing coming up in race 3, a 25-minute race shortly to come. But we have been to Portimao, Aragon and Paul Ricard so far. Next week, in a week's time, on the 8th of June, will be the 4th round of the championship, which will be in Italy for our tour of Europe, and the gotta know the name, Autodromo Enzo Adino Ferrari, Imola, I'll just say. That'll be round 4. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be at the Hungaroring. 3 weeks' time, we'll be at the Autodrome Moss circuit. A week off in between rounds 6 and 7. Round 7 will be the Silverstone GP layout, followed by an equally legendary circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. Zandvoort will take us into round 9 of the championship, followed by the Scandinavian Raceway, aka Anderstorp, for round 10. Round 11 will be the Red Bull Ring in Austria, and then the final round will be the Hockenheim Ring on the 10th of August. We've got a 25-minute race coming up very, very shortly, where the results of race 2 will determine the grid, but the top 15 reversed. And speaking of grids, we will go through the grid for the next race right about now. This week we've been able to capture those results, but Ian Deeney took the win and therefore will line up 15th in this next race. Gabriel Lopez, who finished 15th at the bottom there, you can see he will start pole position for this next race, and alongside him will be Anastasios Georgiadis. 3rd will line up Roy Plummer. 4th will line up Ben Payne. 5th will line up Ollie Janssen, and alongside him Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. 7th will start Elliot House, with Fraser Austin starting where he finished, 8th position. Lee Horn will be next with Ayman Aqeem behind. Johannes Lienberg will start in 10th position. Sorry, 11th position. 12th position will be Jeff Perkis. 13th, Eunice Carbide. 14th and 15th, Navalov and Deeney. And starting at the back, Stephen Dugrovelia. Johannes Lienberg, our race 1 winner, getting a bit of practice before things get underway. But another thing to mention is the ballast. So far tonight the ballast has been based on the championship standings, and the championship standings were like this coming into the opening 2 races of the night. So Jamie Dory, who did not compete tonight, will be was on 40 kilos. Ayman Aqeem has been on 36 kilos throughout the night so far, so that will change as the ballast for race 3 is based off qualifying from earlier. So Jonas Lienberg, who qualified on pole, will end up with 40 kilos on his car. Ayman Aqeem, who qualified 2nd, will still have 36 kilos of ballast on board, so he can't seem to avoid that big number 36. Ian Deeney qualified 3rd, therefore he will get 32 kilos of ballast. And it runs down in increments of 4 to 10th place, where Heike Navalov has 4 kilos of ballast. So, with 2 of the top 3 there in qualifying having won races so far, it'd be very interesting to see what they can do with more ballast on their car and further back in the grid. drivers get ready to progress into the final race of the night here at Paul Ricard. Our tour of Europe started in Portugal, went over to Spain last week, and this week's in France. Next week we'll be in Italy, but we'll tail off this race of France here in the Euro TCR, Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing RaceRoom League. This 13-week journey we're currently on. Drivers line up on the grid, ready to start this 25-minute race. Sunset here at Paul Ricard. Gabriel Lopez will be on the front row. You can see him there in the Vexter 22 livery. Anastasios Georgiadis will start second place in the black, white and blue Audi alongside Lights Are Red. Away we go, a jump start for Jürgen Matsby Pedersen. Not a good start to his race as he screams through the pack. You can tell how much he had a jump start there as he's coming down towards turns 1 and 2, challenging for the lead. He may as well get out as front as possible to serve that drive-through penalty as he sneaks through into the lead. But for how long, as he'll have to serve a drive-through. Coming down towards turn 1. Oh, and there's a spin already from Gabriel Lopez and Pedersen. So Pedersen has gone from bad to worse as he reverses off the track to avoid all the traffic. That was some going from Pedersen there to do that. But Pedersen's raced from bad to worse as we come through turns 3 and 4 now. And 5. Georgiadis gets into the lead. He's got Roy Plummer behind. Fraser Rostens with a brilliant start to this race. Just remind me where he started 8th. Already up to 3rd place. A brilliant start to his race. Ayman Aqeem started 11th. He's up to 5th. Brilliant start for him. So a lot of drivers really hitting their marks early on in this race. Georgiadis versus Roy Plummer here. Roy Plummer, we haven't mentioned him much tonight. We've got Johannes Lienberg back there trying to move on Ollie Janssen, we can see. Let's take a look at that. There they are, coming through. Jeff Perkins on the outside, Lienberg on the inside. They found their way past Janssen. Oh, and Jeff Perkins had to correct it, and a big spin there. Big contact, there's Lee Horn involved, Carbeed involved, and that is Carbeed into the wall. Lee Horn has managed to keep it going somehow. And I think Jeff Perkins has as well, but Ollie Janssen hasn't got away, so lucky. And neither is Jonas Carbeed. Might be one for the stewards to look at later. But big drama early on in this race. Elliot House into second place here. Good start to the race from him. Chasing down Anastasios Georgiadis. Finds the inside. The 2 drivers in the 2020 Come2U Audi Sport Audis. Up the inside goes Elliot House, and a big whack on the side from Georgiadis, who did not know Elliot was there. It was a fair move from Elliot, to be fair. But coming through as he went on 2 wheels, flamboyantly, still in second place. Tucks back in behind Georgiadis. Fraser Rostens in 3rd. Ayman Aqeem in 4th place there already. Brilliant start to the race from him. Jonas Lienberg, our race 1 winner, there in 5th. And our race 2 winner there in 6th. Oh, look at this. This could be 3 wide. Oh, just about isn't. Rostens backed out of it. Oh, and a big roll there from Georgiadis. He hits the curb too hard and rolls over on the outfield there, and he can't quite get there. There we go. The AI puts the car back on track, but hitting the curb just a little bit too hard at the wrong angle sent the car over. Thankfully, no one got collected from that, so that promotes everyone up 1 place. Ben Payne, for some reason, running very slowly back here in 16th place. Something might have happened to him towards the start of that lap there. Jürgen Matsby Pedersen hasn't served his drive-through penalty yet, and I think Georgiadis has taken another spin. He has. Something's happening to Jonas Carbeed there. Man, Georgiadis, something happening there. Carbeed seemed to wait to let by Georgiadis. Very strange. But Carbeed was having a pretty decent night. But Elliot House into the lead. Elliot, who was a bit of an entertainer in races 1 and 2 last week at Aragon. Lee Horn, who was involved a little bit of an incident on the previous lap, has got away with it. He's in 6th place, hunting down Ian Deeney ahead, and Lee Horn, with a little bit of weight relinquished from his car due to his qualifying performance, might be finding a bit of pace in that car. And we got Ayman Aqeem outside of Fraser Rostance. And Ayman Aqeem, who came through the pack last week at Aragon from 15th to 1st to win race 3, is coming through from 11th at the moment. So a bit of an easier job than last week, some might consider. Johannes Lienberg, should I say, all over the rear. And Jonas having a tremendously good night, as is Ian Deeney right behind him. Look at them push each other through turn 1 and 2 here. Oh, and Lee Horn's got to find the inside. Ian Deeney's going to try the inside as well. 3 wide going into turn 3 here. Lee Horn gets himself into 4th place, takes 2 in 1 corner. Brilliant move from Lee Horn, our co-championship host. Lienberg not giving up, he's found the inside for turn 5 coming up here. Long right-hander here. Lee Horn probably has the better line. Yes, he'll have the inside for this left kink and onto the back straight. Yes, he does. Into 4th he goes. Ayman Aqeem. This is the view from him of Elliot House ahead. Elliot House in the Audi we have seen all night has a little bit of upper hand on straight line speed over the Alfa Romeo. But Ayman Aqeem is Ayman Aqeem, leader of the championship. Will he close into Elliot House? We've still got Deeney, Horn and Johannes Lienberg facing off against one another. Lienberg still ahead. Navalov might have found his way through Lee Horn on the back straight there without us seeing. Oh, we got Fraser Rostance trying the inside of Ayman Aqeem, and they both go sideways. Ayman Aqeem comes off worse for wear. Down to 3rd place he goes. Oh, there's one for the stewards later, I think. But Fraser Rostance back into 3rd. Aqeem back into 3rd. Deeney versus his teammate again. Deeney slipping back a little bit on the last lap or so. Into 7th he goes. Lienberg catching back up with Aqeem, the man he was battling in race 1 and in qualifying. These two drivers only separated by, well, nothing in the qualifying times. 0.000 seconds was literally a 4th decimal needed to separate them two drivers in qualifying. At the end of lap 4, we've got 18 minutes remaining. Something we mention around about this time in every race so far is 25 minutes is quite a long time for these cars on the lifespan of these tyres. So that'll be the big thing to look out for later on in the race is tyre wear. Some of these drivers using a lot of tyre wear early on, making extravagant moves and unconventional lines through the corner, using a bit more load on the steering, which will all contribute to wearing the tyres out. Sad to report that Georgiades is not out of the race. He's in the pits getting a bit of repairs done on his car. We've got a battle here between Carbide, Pedersen and Ben Payne. This is for 13th position. These drives involved in incidents here and there. Pedersen had a drive-through penalty which loses touch from the pack. And look at this. Elliot House has found the inside of... Fraser Rostance found the inside of Elliot House, and sideways again is Ayman Aqeem. Couldn't quite find his way past Elliot House. And through goes Johannes Lienberg into 3rd place. Brilliant opportunistic move from the Swedish driver there. And Elliot House is back up the inside of Fraser Rostance. These two battling again, like they did in race 2. Rostance back down to 2nd place as Elliot House muscles his way through. Lienberg on the inside. Lee Horn stranded on the outside there from Ayman Aqeem. Nothing he can do, but has the inside for this next corner and have the inside for the final corner. Back ahead of Ayman Aqeem he goes. Navalov is now trying to get involved, and look at that, Ayman Aqeem skipping across the curb to try and get to the inside of Lee Horn. Into the final corner they go. Rostance is pushing Elliot House through the corner as they all bunch up, and look at Fraser Rostance swing across to defend from Lienberg, who's hard on the attack, the race 1 winner. Coming down the front straight here. Them two in front, side by side. That's House and Rostance. Ayman Aqeem in the Alfa Romeo, looking to the inside. Lienberg tucks in behind. Lee Horn getting very squirrely in the yellow Audi there. And trying to find the inside also is Nike and Navalov, but not able to find it. Lee Horn is trying the inside of Lienberg. A bit of a door swipe there from between Lee Horn and Ayman Aqeem. Horn hangs on to the inside, now tries the inside of Lienberg, but couldn't quite get it. Deeney up the inside of Navalov as well. And look who's joining the pie. Jeff Perkins at the back here, just watching it all unfold in 8th place there. Side to side, first and second. Georgiadis has left the pit and is just ahead of them. So Elliot House will get a little bit of a tow from the car ahead. Just about can't see it behind the number 6 there on the window. That is the view from Elliot House from his rear wing. Fraser Austin's on the outside. Elliot House using the slipstream of the Greek driver ahead, the back marker, who I'm sure these drivers will be watching what he'll do. He does surrender to the drivers, which is good to see. In blue flags, you don't have to give way. Oh, look at this. There's another 3 wide. Johannes Lienberg's on the inside of Fraser Austin's, but couldn't quite get it. Lee Horn moves across to challenge Lienberg for 3rd place. It bunches up a little bit. Lienberg got Constantina's up there and might have surrendered the position to Lee Horn. And look at that, Ayman Aqeem skips across the curb to make it past Lee Horn. Lee Horn gets the undercut. Back into 3rd place he goes, but Ayman Aqeem is just throwing those moves across the curb and on the inside of all these drivers. Has the outside, might have the inside for the final corner here. Will Ayman Aqeem. Oh, and big contact there between Lienberg and Navalov. Navalov challenging the inside on the final corner there. This is big battling from these drivers with... We're not even halfway through the race. Elliot House leads another lap here at Paul Ricard. As far as I'm aware, he has never won a Crest Autosport RaceRoom League race, never won an Exiled Virtual Motorsports race, which I used to host, and has never won a NXTGEN racing race. Let's see how it favours out for him. Roston's in 2nd, Lee Horn back in 3rd ahead of Ayman Aqeem. Lienberg's in 5th. Navalov 6th, just about hangs on ahead of Ian Deeney and Jeff Perkins at the moment. What racing we're seeing at the moment. This is one for my commentary show reel, certainly. Coming up the main straight now. Elliot House currently defends the inside. Will he move to the outside? Rear wing view again. Alongside goes Fraser Rostance. And might have found his way in front. He has. Fraser Rostance will take the lead here. Unless Elliot House can get it back up the inside. No, he can't. Fraser Rostance takes the lead for the moment. And there's 3 Audis in the top 3 spots at the moment. Coming into the next corner, Elliot House tries the inside again, but Fraser Rostance hangs on and does well to hold on to the lead. Fraser Rostance has got to keep cool and very, very rock solid right now with Elliot House now behind him, and Lee Horn hopping it on the curb to try and hoist his way around the corner, but Elliot House stays in front for the time being and now finds himself on the outside of Ayman Aqeem. Aqeem is now past Lee Horn and we're going to try the inside of Elliot House. Big moves going on today from Ayman Aqeem, and now finds himself in 3rd place. Now, if you are watching on YouTube, Twitch or Facebook, please do fire in the comments who you think is our Driver of the Day candidate today. Driver of the Day sponsored by Lovely Stickers, sponsors of Crest Autosport. You can find their website and a discount code for 10% off all their products in the description of all these live streams and videos. But back to the action quickly. Elliot House might be under trouble from 3rd place runner Ayman Aqeem. Up the inside goes the Alpha, but shutting the door is the black and yellow Audi of Elliot House. Hangs on to 2nd at the moment. Fraser Rostance has broken away a little bit, just under half a second clear. Something's happened to Lienberg as he slips behind the 2 Alphas of Navalov and Deeney. Lienberg was looking very strong at the start of the race. It's not gone so well for him. Something else further back. Lopez is in the pits. Ben Payne is out of the race, sadly. Disappointing night for the Crest Autosport driver. Our focus is on the white Audi in the middle of Ayman Aqeem, just behind the black Audi there of Elliot House, who will win race 3. A big run coming out the corner there from Ayman Aqeem. He finds the outside of Elliot House. Oh, and sideways again is Ayman Aqeem. He's really struggling to keep hold of that rear end round that right-hander there. Really not suiting him. Well, the car and track combo as he finds the inside again on this corner. They've got to rename this corner to the Ayman Aqeem corner as he just keeps finding gaps on the inside of drives in that corner. He's now in second place. Brilliant move from him. I think that's the 10th time we've seen a move from him in that corner in tonight's racing. Others better take note and learn, ready for the next time we visit here. Don't know when that'll be. And Elliott House shoves it up the inside into the final corner. Maybe that corner should be renamed to the Elliott House corner. Into second place. The return of second place goes Elliott House. Fraser Rostons is loving this, as this is allowing him to break clear. In first place here. Lee Horn waiting for all this to unfold. He has got Navalov behind him. Navalov has been a bit quiet. He was involved at the front in race 2. Hasn't really been forefront in the battles for first place. He's now very much involved in it now as Ayman Aqeem gets a big undercut from Elliott House, as does Lee Horn. Elliott House might have broke a little bit too late there. Navalov looked like he was taking a bit of a lunge on Lee Horn as he runs wide. Coming out of turn 3, Lee Horn will have a slow down penalty to serve as Elliott House will move back past Ayman Aqeem. That's probably what he needed to break away from this battle for third, which is what is turned into. And Ayman Aqeem, this is the view. He has Fraser Rostons to close down, a second gap to close down. Fraser Rostons was quickest in practice today. Ayman Aqeem was, you could say, tied quickest for top spot in qualifying. So these two, who is the better driver here in the now? Elliott House now challenged by Navalov, who finds himself making his way into third place. A brilliant drive in this race from Navalov. And Lee Horn still can't find his way past the Audi driver. A bit of a nudge up the rear from Lee Horn on Elliott House, who's back into third place by the looks of it. Yes, he is. Elliott House ruthless and not giving up on that podium spot now. Lee Horn on the outside there, guarding from Ian Deeney. Deeney gets a bit of an undercut there. Chase Cam, we love you. Not quite, well, he is alongside, but is he in front? Deeney versus Horn coming down into turns 1 and 2. Will Deeney be able to hang on to the outside as they come through this complex here? No. Lee Horn will stay in 5th place. Navalov challenging for 3rd now. Oh, and a big lunge there from Jeff Perkis on Ian Deeney. They both give each other fair racing room. Lienberg finds himself back in 8th place. Deeney getting a bit of a nudge from Jeff Perkis to encourage him along. As they come through turn 5 now. Onto the back straight they go. Chase Cam. Now, Fraser Rostons in the last lap or so has opened up the gap. As they come into final corner. Oh, and Stephen de Grelli in the pits. He also in the pits. There's been a few drivers having to come in the pits. Eunice Carby, last of the runners out on track at the moment. Georgiadis is still running, but a lap down. Back with the front, Fraser Rostons clear by 1.2 seconds. Navalov real close to Elliott House again. And the front two just breaking away from the black and yellow Audi here. Oh, and a bit of a push up the rear from Navalov. Just to remind House that he's there and he's willing to get past at any point. Coming into the final corner now. Navalov will try and undercut as Elliott House was taking a more defensive line, but not enough to make his way alongside. He might be able to push Elliott House down the corner here. In fact, it was a pretty good run. He will find his way alongside. I was definitely wrong about that. Has the inside coming into turn 1, or does he? Elliott House might have got the upper hand. in the clean air here. Still side by side. Oh, and they're still touching, banging wheels and doors. House retains 3rd place. Dini back there just hanging on ahead of Jeff Perkis, who's hanging on ahead of Johannes Lienberg. They bunch up again. What now turns into a battle for 3rd place. Coming on to the back straight now. Ayman Aqeem had a pretty good lap there. Gains in a little bit on Fraser Roston's, a couple of tenths quicker on that last lap. Is within slipstreaming distance, so this will help Ayman Aqeem certainly with 5 minutes to go. My prediction is about 3 laps to go. Again, Navalov following Elliott House. That's the rear of Elliott House's car. Into the corner we go. Tries to slither up the inside but couldn't quite complete it. Oh, and a big swing of the rear end. Ian Deeney might have found the inside of Lee Horn, who gives him a bit of racing room. Plenty of racing room. Ian Deeney has not yet found 5th place. Challenges for it. Lee Horn holds the inside for the next corner. Deeney gives room. Will try a bit of an undercut here, but that gives him the outside for this corner and the final corner, which is not the ideal line. Calms down a little bit. The calm before the storm, potentially, as drivers for the final few laps will probably start to put in some big moves. Oh, and it bunches up a little bit as the cars slow down quite a lot coming through that final corner there. It's quite a difficult final corner in these cars. As Lee Horn in the pits. Something's happened to Lee Horn. Dives straight in the pits. I'm not entirely sure what happened. It didn't come up with a penalty or anything like that. But he does seem to be driving through the pits. He got a drive-through penalty without us knowing. Not entirely sure what it was for, though. Drama beholds us. Down to 10th place. He's not losing the highest amount of points. Still losing some, though, particularly to his current championship rival, Ayman Aqeem, and, of course, Johannes Lienberg. A little bit puzzled by that, but hey-ho, the race goes on. As we see Navalov still charging against Elliott House here. Ayman Aqeem is closing in to Fraser Ostens, and we'll get with that soon. I still need a little bit of help, ladies and gentlemen, with Driver of the Day. If anyone really does want to give me a little bit of help with that, please do let us know. My thoughts are Johannes Lienberg or Ian Deeney right now. They've been brilliant tonight, the pair of them. As has most drivers, but Navalov, we saw there up the inside of Elliott House and past, going into the right-hander of the Corbe de Signa. And into the podium spots goes Navalov. Ayman Aqeem with the slow down penalty, pushing desperately hard to catch up with Fraser Rostens. Now that, by my calculations, and it's pretty obvious to most of the racing sports fans here. Oh, and Fraser Rostens, it looks like he has a slow down penalty as Ayman Aqeem is screaming past on this back straight here. Either that or Fraser Rostens had a really bad exit from that corner. There'll be 2 laps to go, so Fraser Rostens will be able to challenge Ayman Aqeem. Still in second place is Ayman, but the battle is now on between these two. Fraser Rostens slips a bit and ends up surrendering the inside for the next corner to Ayman Aqeem. Latest of the late breakers, it was Fraser Rostens, and stays in first place. Back here, Elliott House still not giving up on that 3rd place spot. He's got Ian Deeney to worry about here. And Johannes Lienberg there, just guarding off from Jeff Perkis. Right, let's get the view here from Ian Deeney. I don't know that chase cam bug. It does my head in. But a big run here from Elliott House. We've seen the Audi overpower the Alfa Romeo all night. And this is an indicator of it. Elliott House has the outside for the Corp de Senior. Holds the outside and might have taken the position. No, he runs wide and has to give it back. Guards off from Ian Deeney, who was looking savvy on the inside there. Elliott House back in 4th place. Not quite worked out yet for him. Back here, Ollie Janssen is catching up to this pack. He might join the party very, very soon. Jeff Perkins has got his way past Johannes Lienberg into 6th place while we were looking away. Real bunched up between these drivers here. Pushing Navalov along. Still pushing him along, and Navalov got a big hefty shunt up the rear as he did himself from Ian Deeney. It's getting a bit feisty between all these drivers as the final lap begins for Fraser Rostance. Unlucky in race 1 where he got the penalty at the end of the race to send him down the order, but it is coming back to him here in race 1. Either way, it could be 1st or 2nd for him, pending any drama between these two. Their race endures at the moment. The battle for 3rd is on. Up the inside goes Jeff Perkins on Ian Deeney. Deeney will have to hang on to it as desperately as he can to try and keep up with Elliott House as well. Jeff now has the outside for turn 5. Not able to get by. Onto the back straight go. The front two on. Ayman Aqeem has found his way past Fraser Rostance. I don't know how that happened. I'm not able to get a replay. Oh, I don't know how we missed that. Ayman Aqeem has somehow found his way past Fraser Rostance and leads the race on the final lap here. Now, someone's joked that Ayman Aqeem, well, not joked, but someone said that Ayman Aqeem should get the drive of the day. I don't want to give it to a driver who's had it in the previous race. I want to give it to someone else. Let's sort that out later, though, because there is plenty of racing still going on. Rostance has the outside of Ayman Aqeem. Might this be a heroic move back into the lead? It is at the moment. Fraser Rostance retakes the lead here at Paul Ricard. Race 3 here. Ayman Aqeem has got to throw everything at it, throw the kitchen sink at it. This is usually the place he makes his moves, but he isn't close enough this time around. Rostance still leads. Back here, it's still the same order between these 3 drivers. Any moves from them? Not just yet. They stay as they are at the moment with Navalov in 3rd. Rostance and Aqeem side by side still. Rostance defending a bit from Aqeem. A little bit of a door-to-door contact. Rostance will hang on to first, though. He'll come around the final corner. A 3rd different winner tonight. And a 7th different winner this season. He takes the win. Fraser Rostance. Ayman Aqeem takes 2nd. Heike Navalov will cross the line to finish 3rd, with Elliott House valiant defending to finish 4th from Ian Deeney, who, I'm going to say it, I'm going to do it. Ian Deeney gets my driver of the day today. Brilliant driving from him, and a race 2 winner, a debut winner for him in the Crest Autosport and NXTGEN leagues. Jeff Perkins takes 6th place. Good racing from him tonight. Johannes Lienberg takes 7th with Ollie Janssen in 8th. Roy Plummer will come through to finish 9th position. Lee Horn, drama for him. A drive-through penalty, presumably for track limits. Takes 10th place from Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. Eunice Carby takes 12th position from Stephen de Gravelia. Anastasios Georgiadis finishes 14th, and there are your classified standings. Fraser Rostance takes his opening win of the season. Aqeem 2nd, with Navalov another podium position to finish 3rd. Elliott House, big strong race from him in 4th, with Ian Deeney, our lovely stickers driver of the day, taking 5th position. Well, what a night's racing we've had. That's been probably one of my most favourite nights to commentate on. As a RaceRoom commentator, anyway. 3 different winners tonight. In race 1, we saw Johannes Lienberg take the win. In race 2, we saw Ian Deeney take his debut win. And we have seen Fraser Rostance take his debut win in Crest Autosport. But has taken many wins in NXTGEN. Back on the top step of the podium here at Paul Ricard. That has been the 3rd round of the season. We're 9 races in. and we've got plenty of racing still to go in this season. Next week, we're off to Italy for the Autodromo Enzo Adino Ferrari. Imola is next for round 4 on the 8th of June. Tune in around about 8 o'clock p.m. UK time, GMT +1, to catch all the action live. We'll see you in 1 week's time at Imola for round 4. Thank you for watching. On behalf of Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing, good night, and we'll see you next time.